Support proplaygames on Patreon.
Hey guys, Adrian here, bringing you guys a live tuned Runick Spright deck profile. This is a very strong meta contender for this upcoming format and a deck I've been playing a lot. Let's get right into deck profile. Starting off with the live twin engine, I play 3 Lila. There's really not much explanation here. She's your main starter for the live twin engine, and it's the one you want to draw the most out of the two, since it can get you to the Kill Frost. I play 2 of the normal Kill and 1 Kill Frost. 2 of the normal Kill, same reason as the other one. You just want a name to get to the other one and get into your engine started, since both of them, what they do is that if you control no monsters, when they're normal summoned, you can get the other one. And the Kill Frost is the one you get of the Lila, because when your opponent searches or adds a card, from their main deck to their hand, you can draw a card by banishing it if you control any weapon. Finishing that off, I play 2 Sunny Snitch. There's an argument to be made to play 3 of these and 1 of the normal Kill, but that really depends on the format. As long as you play, I think, 5 in total, counting the Kill Frost, it's fine. Ratios for these cards are very dependent on what you want to play and the playstyle you have, but I think this ratio is fine for now. Then for the Spright engine, I'm playing 2 Spright Blue and 1 Spright Jet. You can get away with playing 3 Blue and 2 Jet. I just felt like that was a little bit too cloggy this format, and I wanted to run more non-engine, since it's kind of an unsolved format. And yeah, realistically, you don't need more. Like, the math is there to support it, but yeah, I just think this is correct for now. Finishing that off, I'm playing obviously the 1 red and the 1 carrot. These are your main targets that you're gonna get with starter to end your board. Obviously, you summon one or the other depending on the matchup. And for the spells, I'm just playing the 1 starter and the 1 smashers. Usually in this deck, people only play starter. I chose to play smashers because I wanted more going second options, also to out some kind of troublesome cards, I would say, like Dragoon or Albion, and like some other towers that smashers can get around. And the 1 starter, you don't really, like, you can play more than 1, but the issue is that you use it during your combo, so drawing it as a actual starter, it's not as good as in maybe other versions of Spright. So you really only want to play 1 because you don't want to draw it. And there's an argument to play a double cross 2 or instead of smashers, but I think smashers is a little bit stronger this format, going first and second. Then for the Runick engine, I'm playing 17 Runick spells, playing a 3 Runick tip. There's really no reasoning there. It searches all your Runick cards. It's just obviously really strong. 3 freezing curses. This is all pretty standard, your main monster negation. Then following that up, I'm playing 3 flashing fires, special summon monster destroy. All of these obviously special summon your Runicks from the extra deck, so they all serve as extenders, which is it's really good too. Then I'm playing 3 Runick destruction. So far, yeah, pretty standard Runick lineup. This is your spell trap destruction, and 3 Runick slumber. This protects your Griffin sometimes after you summon it with Masquerena, and it can come up to kind of like stall out the game, so you can deck your opponent out, which comes up a lot, especially when they puppet lock you. It's come up multiple times that your win con is deck out, so this helps you like prevent them from killing alongside with Sunny Snitch. Then finishing that off, I decided to play 1 Dispelling and 1 Smithing Storm. These are just the last 2 best Runick spells. You can play Droplet, but it's not as good. There's an argument to play 18 Runick spells, or even as low as 15, or even lower, but I felt comfortable at 17. It just feels like if I were to play less, it wouldn't be as consistent, and the Smithing Storm also helps with the same deck out win condition that this deck has, as with most Runick decks. and finishing that off obviously to Fountain. It's now at 2, but you never really played more or less of this card, so that doesn't really matter. It's your it keeps your engine going too. Then for the non-engine, I have the last 6 slots of the deck. I chose to play 3 Ash Blossom, just assuming that there was going to be a lot of Labyrinth and Branded running around, and there were. So it worked out well so far. It's a fairly open format, so I want to run like maybe not as specific cards that are non-engine or that hit specific matchups, and Ash is just all around a good card. And finishing that off, I decided to play 2 Kurakara, and for the 40th card, 1 Talents. You can play the 3 Kurakaras or even just completely different non-engine. That's very much to personal preference and what you will face in a tournament right now. I just felt like this was a good lineup. I consider the 3rd Kurakara, but it's not. It can get cloggy because you're drawing so much in this deck, and the Talents is also like a really good card. Going into the extra deck, I played a very standard Runick Live Twin Spright extra deck with 2 Hugin. You don't really need the 3rd, but you definitely need the 2nd. Sometimes you run through both in your combo, and you can't really get away with just the 1, because then you lose consistency in some way. And the last Gary, this is just for some battle tricks, I guess. Helps with removal, and same thing sometimes. If you discard your spell or your field spell, you can get it back with Gary, and then it's super fair. Then I'm playing just the 1 Gigantic. You can play 2, but the extra deck space is kind of tight as you run through a lot of it, since games are pretty long with this deck. I'm playing 2 Lila and 2 Kissikil. There's really nothing to say here. The deck needs 2 and 2, because usually what happens is that you run through 2 of them in your starting lineup, in your starting combo, sorry. And as you go through the game, you end up needing the others to extend. And obviously, one having the draw effect and the pop effect comes up quite often. The last 3 Link 2s, I'm playing 1 Sprint, 1 Muckracker, and 1 IP. IP is just the end, like part of your inboard, because you use it to then go into Griffin, and the Muckracker helps extend some lines. It also helps with follow-up because it can revive your Evil Twins or even Abomination and some other cards in the deck, so it does come up a lot. It also can come up in time when you send Resonator and then summon it back. Then the Sprint is for some lines where you have to end up getting one of the Live Twin monsters from Gigantic and then send the other one and link from there into the Evil Twin Link 2s, and you kind of go from there from the combo. So it can add a little bit of consistency by running the Sprint, but it's not mandatory. Then just the 1 Nightmare Unicorn. This is to use as an interruption off of Masquerena. Same thing, it's not needed, but it's always nice to have an interruption like that. Lastly, the Link Force. I'm running 1 Trouble Sunny, 1 Abomination, and 1 Griffin. The Griffin is same thing as your inboard. It also comes up a lot, like it actually came up pretty often so far, that you reset your smashers if you use it to be able to out like another trouble card. Abomination's there just for more removal. The deck can struggle with really wide boards, and Abomination helps out that. It also turns your Runick spells into, instead of pop 1, pop 2. And yeah, the removal is nice. It's also a big beater, so when you do end up seeing yourself pushing for game, it helps a lot. Trouble Sunny is just a really good card in the deck. The fact that it sends and that it can summon back your links is it's really powerful. It can represent a lot of removal. It's also a huge beater. And that's finishing up the extra deck. Going into the side deck is always up to personal preference and depends a lot on the tournament that you're going into and the format at your local scene. But so far for the tournaments I played in, this has performed really well. I played a 3 evenly match. Same thing, it's just that this deck struggles with quite quite wide boards, and I wanted to be prepared for spell trap decks such as Labyrinth, and this helped out some other boards fairly well. Following that up, I'm finishing up the talents because I think this card is really strong. I just didn't feel like it deserved the 3 spots in the main deck. It's really good into some matchups though. The take comes up a lot, and yeah, it's just a really solid card. I've been happy playing it so far. Same thing going into Labyrinth and some other trap decks. Maybe not even all trap decks, just decks that run heavy back row. Harpy's Feather Duster destroys your opponent's back row. It's really strong card, so there's not much to say about that. I wanted to be prepared for Branded. So yeah, I'm playing 5 Bestials with 3 Magnamud and 2 Druid Swarm. You can run things like Bell or DD Crow, but I think that the Bestials just being like an extender to some like sense, I guess, is very strong, and it hurts a lot of decks right now. The Graveyard Hate's pretty strong. Lastly, I wanted to run a 3 Nibiru. Same thing, it's an open format so far. So 3 Nibiru comes up a lot into Mana Dome and some other decks that maybe are combo decks that run through a lot of summons without summoning a negate. And it's a lot easier to out one big token in this deck than a lot of really big monsters or even just small monsters. So simplifying the board state helps a lot. And lastly, just one time card, Red Resonator. This deck runs into time a lot, whether you like it or not, since you can't really push for game. A lot of your games drag out, and you end up having to try to deck your opponent out, or you simply control them, but you can't actually kill them. And the Red Resonator helps out a lot into going into game 3, even game 2, because game 1s can take a really long time. But yeah, that was the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe and follow us on Patreon. If you like this deck and want to pick it up or any of the cards in the video, make sure to check out our TCG player affiliate link in the description. And yeah, follow us on Patreon, where I'll be posting the combo videos for this deck.